Doubt. After asking the doubt, immediately before sir answer your question, please immediately put your mic on mute and then listen to sir's answers. Okay, please.
Okay, okay,
Otherwise, your background noise are disturbing everyone else.
okay, okay, madam. Listen, ମୋର କହିବାର କଥା ହଉଛି
Please don't mention. Please don't make us mention your name, guys. Please. Everyone are actually listening. Even with your doubts, even we want to understand and clarify those doubts. So please try to understand when you ask question, immediately put the mic on mute and then even make us listen to your answers. It's like very disturbing.
okay, okay, madam. Thank you.
And regarding the assignments, the exams you are planning to take, you have to compulsorily submit those assignment. If you can submit all the four assignment, you can submit. But if you can't submit all the four and you're planning to take only two exams, then you have to submit those two exams assignment now by March 31st.
मैडम हमारा जो असाइनमेंट होगा वो कितना पेज में होगा? 100 मार्क का असाइनमेंट है, तो हम टोटल 400 मार्क का असाइनमेंट है, तो कितना पेज लिखना पड़ेगा? आप थोड़ा सा बता देंगे क्या?
Sir, you can search in the YouTube or search in any link. You just click or any link and you just find the answer. That may be 4 to 5 pages.
ओके मैडम, आउ गोटे मैडम डाउट था टिके मैडम क्लियर कर दूं, लास्ट डाउट।
Yes.
मैडम आमर जो असाइनमेंट जो रोहुची आउ बही तो आमर जो आसीची आमर क्वेश्चन आपण मैडम तो एग्जाम देछन, तो क्वेश्चन मैडम आपण से जो बही रो हम जो पढिबा से क्वेश्चन माने केबळ आसे, इजी आसे ना टिके हार्ड आसे ना केमिति कोन क्वेश्चन एडा आसे?
No, no, sir, nothing like that. The question, assignment question गुड़ा को अपन को माने clear जंती hard देखा लागू जी, but अपन को जो exam रे question गुड़ा को be practical. माने based
Ma'am,
on your
excuse me,
understanding
ma'am.
level.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. I just have a small doubt regarding my materials. My materials had not been delivered yet, ma'am.
Sir, please do the emails to RC Bhubaneswar.
I have done a couple of times, and I have talked to the operator at the RC Bhubaneswar office also. They said that it will come
Oh,
from Delhi, and but it did not
sir,
arrive.
there is an link available for grievance. You should send the
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
email.
I have directly mailed to the RC Bhubaneswar twice, a couple of times, but there was no response. So that's why I had to ask. I'm just waiting.
I did the same, sir, and my study materials reached within 15 days.
Acha, okay, okay, okay. Thank you, thank you. I'll look
एक्सक्यूज मी
into it.
मैडम आउट डाउट थिला ए जो हमर जो असाइनमेंट हमर जो लेखा हबो तार
Yes.
हमर मैडम आपण तो उड़िया माने बुझुंती उड़िया रे हमर जेमति सरल अर्थ लेखंती माने धरो लेखा हिची सरल अर्थ देकी प्रथमे राम तापर डट डट तापर शेष पद लेखंती असाइनमेंट रो सेही वे लेखि हबो?
No, sir. आपण पूरा क्वेश्चन टाको लिखिबे फर्स्ट,
आज्ञा
देन
आज्ञा
इंट्रोडक्शन पार्ट करिवे, इंट्रोडक्शन पार्ट पटे डिस्क्रिप्शन पार्ट करिवे। जदि डिस्क्रिप्शन ले आपनकर किछि अछि भी सेमति स्मॉल स्मॉल पैराग्राफ टाइप रो अछि, तारो जदि किछि हेडिंग्स अछि यू कैन यूज। जदि नाही ताले भी आपण ओनली डिस्क्रिप्शन लिखिबे, देन कंक्लूजन लिखिबे।
मैडम मैडम से जो इंट्रोडक्शन ता आमे जो लेखिम इंट्रोडक्शन ता तले अंडरलाइन करिम?
ना
Guys, can you
इंट्रोडक्शन
please
खाली गोटे
discuss
अलग
it
ब्लैक
later?
पेन।
Guys, can you please discuss it later? Let us
प्लीज मैडम
start.
प्लीज सुनो सुनो प्लीज मैडम ज्योतिर्मय मैडम आपण गोटे खराब बिने आपण नंबर टा मैडम टे मिलिबो कि एठी ग्रुप रे कथा हेउनी आपण नंबर टा मु कथा पय टे माने डाउट अछि ना, कारण आपण वर्षे पढी कि दैछन एग्जाम मोटे कंफ्यूजन होछि, क्लियर हे गना टे बेटर होंदा।
सर आपण का नंबर टा
अगे नन मैडम नन मो नंबर टा टे माने कॉल करे, कारण मोटे डाउट अछि ना, फास्ट ईयर ना तते नर्वस टे लागु, तापर मु भी टे कंफ्यूज अछि बेपटे हमर माने भद्रक पटर टे किछि नोट फोटो वगैरह किछि मिलुनी,
सर
सेति
सर
पे टे प्रॉब्लम।
किछि सर सुनंतु आपण क्लियर आगे हुंतु। देयर इज नथिंग टू वरी। फास्ट गोटे जिनस होची, आपण फास्ट कोन करिवे, जहा जहा आपनकर असाइनमेंट क्वेश्चन अछि आपण ताको सर्च करंतु। दी तीनटा आपनकर लिंक रे आपण माय एजुकेशन वर्ल्ड अछि, देन
Guys,
आउर
can you
अदर
please
साइड अछि,
discuss
आपण
it later?
चेक कर पारे।
Hello?
Will
हाय
you
मैडम,
please stop it,
क्लास
please?
क्लास
It's
सर
very
प्लीज
noisy
स्टॉप इट।
here. Can you
सर
ज्योतिर्मय
stop,
सर
मैडम
please?
प्लीज जितिन मैडम
Sir,
प्लीज
now whatever
आपका
you
नंबर
discuss,
मिलेगा क्या?
please discuss in English only because most of the people they can't understand your language. Please discuss in
ओके
English
ओके
Let
only.
us start first.
That we can also benefit
प्लीज
from the informations. We are not getting anything.
प्लीज
And
ज्योतिर्मय
also
मैडम
requesting,
प्लीज
don't
आई
disturb
टेक
the class, please. Don't disturb the class, please. Let the master
ओके
come
ओके
and
Thank you
सर
all.
do the
Thank
class.
you
ओके
all. So,
ओके सॉरी सर
No problem.
okay. So now pass on to our discussion. Uh, as earlier told to all of you that today to start, that's our
Block 4, sir.
block four. Block four, that is new criticism.
Yes, sir.
New criticism. So let's start. What is criticism in
एक्सक्यूज मी सर
literature?
सर सर एक्सक्यूज मी
Okay.
सर
Hello.
सर ଆମର ଯୋଉ ସାର୍ ଓଡିଆରେ ମୁଁ ସାର୍ ଟିକେ କହିବି ଆମର ସାର୍
Okay.
ଯୋଉ ବହି ଅଛି ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 1 ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 2 ଆଉ
Hmm.
ସାର୍ ବହି ଏଟା ଆସିଛି ଆମେ ସାର୍ ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 1 ପଢିକି ଦମୁ ନା ଭଲ୍ୟୁମ 1 2 ଦିଟା ଯାକ ପଢିକି ଏକ୍ଜାମ ଦବାକୁ ପଡିବ?
ଦିଟା କାରଣ ଶୁଣ ଦେଖ ବ୍ଲକ ୱାନ୍ ମିନ୍ସ ତମର ଦିଟା ଥିବ ଦିଟାକୁ ଦବ ଏଟାକୁ ସେଟାକୁ ମିଶେଇକିରି ବ୍ଲକ ଟୁ ତ ଯେତିକି ବୁକ୍ ଥିବ ସେତିକି ବୁକ୍ ମିଶେଇ ପଢିକିରି 100 ମାର୍କସ ଆସିବ ଟୋଟାଲ MEG-5 ର 8ଟି ବ୍ଲକ ସୋ ଆର୍ ଗେଟିଂ 100 ମାର୍କ from all these 8 blocks.
ସାର୍ 8 ବ୍ଲକ ଗୋଟେ ବହି କରିଦେଇଛି ସାର୍ ପାର୍ଟ କରିକି ଗୋଟେ ବହି କରିଦେଇଛି।
ହଁ yes right. Okay.
अरे भाई
So
तुमको व्हाट्सएप लिंक पठे दउची ଟିକେ ସାର୍ ଙ୍କୁ କ୍ଲାସ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିବାକୁ ଦିଅ ହେଲା ମୁଁ ତମ WhatsApp ଲିଙ୍କ ପଠେଇ ଦଉଛି ତମେ ଜଏନ ହେଇଯାଅ ହେଲା
ହଉ
କ୍ଲାସ
ଭାଇ
ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ
ଟିକେ
କରିବେ।
ପଠେଇଦେବେ ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ ଭାଇ
ହଁ
ଜଲ୍ଦି
ମୁଁ
ଟିକେ ପଠେଇଦେବେ।
ପଠେଇଦେବି ମେସେଜ ରେ ପଠେଇବି ସାର୍ ଙ୍କୁ ଟିକେ କ୍ଲାସ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିବାକୁ ଦିଅ ହେଲା।
ଓକେ ଓକେ
we
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ।
will discuss we'll discuss all your queries later. So now let's start. Come on to our discussion. So discussion is about
Sir,
new
sir,
criticism. Hello. Continue. Speak.
sir, please told them to speak in English. They are talking in their regional languages. We are not understanding anything.
Right. Okay. Okay. After the class, we will discuss. Okay, guys. So you see, discussions about new criticism. Uh, as last class told you to start, that is block 4. Topic is new criticism. So at first we have to understand or we have to have a clear cut idea about what is criticism in literature, because we must be clear or rather crystal clear in our fundamental parlances. At first we have to be fundamentally clear. Okay, then after we have to pass on to that's some difficult ones. So what is criticism in literature? Attention please. Criticism in literature is the comparison. Criticism in literature is the comparison, analysis, interpretation, or evaluation of works of literature. Again repeating for your clear cut understanding, criticism in literature is the comparison, analysis, interpretation, or evaluation of works of literature. Literary criticism is essentially, because discussion about what is criticism in literature, so literary criticism,
Is the interpretation or evolution?
evaluation, uh, evaluation of works of literature, of works of literature. Literary criticism is essentially an opinion supported by evidence. Remember, with a proof means you have to prove it. Literary criticism is essentially an opinion supported by evidence relating to theme, style, setting, or historical or political context. That's all.
Sir,
Okay.
please repeat that last line.
Okay.
Literary.
Literary criticism is essentially an opinion supported by, means advocated by evidence relating to theme, style, setting, or historical or political context.
So that's all about what is criticism in literature. Because everything discussed with you in short, as time is short, so must be as brief as possible. Well, so now, who is the father of new criticism? Who is the, because step by step, just I'm giving you a clear cut idea in short. Who is the, now you know what is criticism in literature. So now know what, who is the father of new criticism.
Sir,
Present
some
discussion.
Dryden, I guess, sir, John or Johnson, John Dryden, some, I hope,
I,
I guess.
I that's Richards. I Richards. Okay, I Richards. That is
Sir, I had
Richards.
read somewhere about some Dryden, who is
No, no,
considered
no.
as the modern literary father of modern
No, no,
literary
that is
criticism.
a new criticism. New criticism. Discussion is new criticism. We'll discuss
Oh, okay,
because you see,
okay, okay.
in this unit, we have the names of that is just discussing with you. So, for the new criticism concern, we have to cover up I. A. Richards, T. S. Eliot, F.R. Lewis, and Wimsatt. They are the
Sir, the book we
authors.
have got,
So they are.
excuse me, sir.
Hello.
Sir, actually, the material we have got from IGNO, there it is written कि I.A. Richards and T.S. Eliot
T.S.
is
Eliot.
considered
T.S.
as the
Eliot. It is in the
T.S.
syllabus.
Eliot.
Syllabus. Because you see,
Okay,
whenever you are
those
getting the question, listen to me, whenever you are getting the question, either in your term end examination or it may be your that's assignment. So you have the question getting the, so describe about the activities or the writings of I. A. Richards. Because in new
sir.
criticism, we are getting all these writers, I. A. Richards, T.S. Eliot, F.R. Lewis, Unsat, W.K.
Okay, sir,
Unsat.
but here it is written कि I.A. Richards and T.S. Eliot are considered the fathers of the new criticism. Both are
Yes, yes.
considered that.
I.A. Richards
Okay,
has
okay.
been uh, called the father of new criticism. I.A. Richards has been called the father of new criticism. He was one of the first to study literary interpretations as a kind of science. He was the one. He was one of the first. He was one of the first to study literary interpretations as a kind of science. Then, what is the format of a new criticism? Now you know what is criticism in literature. Then, with the father of a new criticism, then what is the format of a new criticism? Format.
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
Hello.
he was one of the first literary interpretation. Then what, sir?
As a kind of, he was one of the first to study literary interpretations as a kind of science. Okay, then what is the format of a new criticism? What is the format of a new criticism? New criticism examines the relationship between a text, ideas, and its form. Remember, new criticism, the present discussion or ongoing discussion, that examines the relationship between a text's ideas and its form, between what a text says, between what a
Uh, Sir,
text
can you please
says.
repeat like new criticism
Okay,
examines the relation between?
examines the relationship between a text ideas means what type of ideas are there in the text, presentations are there in the text, between a text ideas and its form, between what a text says and the way it says it. Do you get me? Suppose what did you tell to someone and the way you told, whether sarcastically or politely or friendly or madly or badly or sadly, whatever the mood may be, mood of speaking, mood and more. You just understand there are two things, mood and more. The way you told is mood. Okay, so that is what a text says uh, and the way it says it. New critics may find, okay, again just repeating, that's the new criticism examines the relationship between a text ideas and its form, between what a text says and the way it says it. What says and how does it say? New
Sir,
critics. Hello,
excuse me, sir.
hello.
I have a little request, sir. Will you please ask the students to stop disturbing and asking question each time, because I don't understand when they speak all together at the same time and you are speaking, and I am not Indian, so I don't understand what they are saying, and I find it difficult to understand the different accents at the same time, so I cannot even write what you are saying. For example, the three other sessions meetings, I found it very difficult to understand and get the ideas. Will you please, sir, ask them to stop disturbing and asking meaningless questions, because you are repeating the sentence. You repeat the sentence one, two, and three times. So we don't have to ask these questions and disturb others. I didn't get the first idea, sir, of who is the father of the new criticism, because they were talking with you at the same time. So I don't know who's the father of the new criticism now. Who is it? Excuse me, sir, but it's really disturbing.
Okay, okay, right. Okay, you see.
Excuse me, sir. Uh,
Okay.
what about now the student said is correct. And also you are repeating two, three, or four times the answer. No need, sir. Only one time, but make it
No, no,
slow.
no, see. Okay, what's
So
your taste 100%?
make it
Because for
slow,
your
so
part to make
it
it.
will be enough for us.
Okay, we say
Okay.
time is short. We can't cover up complete all this within this short span. Duration 2 hours. So, whilst we are discussing, the way we are discussing, that's at present I am dealing with you. If you just once, if then twice, not more than that. It's
Yes,
final.
sir.
Not thrice, not
We are
twice.
we are writing also. That is the reason. Instead of three or four times, we can use only one time, but let it be slow, and it will be enough for us. Thank you, sir.
Okay, once or twice, not more than that. Okay, once or twice, because students belonging to different types of categories are here. So if you just go on speaking hastily, as you know, hasty leads to nasty. So you must have a just give some time. Okay, so well that
Okay, sir. Okay.
okay. So two times, that's enough. Not more than that. So new critics may find tension. New critics may find tension, irony in this uh, relation. Irony means that the expression of one's meaning. Irony means the expression of one's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite, typically for humorous or emphatic effect. So the new critics may find tension, irony in this relation, but they usually resolve it into unity and coherence of meaning. Now, what are the features of a new criticism? That format and features are the same. What are the features? Just in some new presentations I have quoted. What are the features of a new criticism? The main
Sir,
features of
usually,
what
sir,
are the
please,
features?
usually, no,
Features,
sir,
features. Usually
sir, the
resolve.
thing is,
Usually, what they usually
usually,
resolve. They they means the new critics. The new critics.
yes,
They usually resolve means find out or decide it into unity and coherence of meaning. Well, so what are the features of new criticism? The main features of new criticism are analyzing uh, as at the very start I told you. So it's the study of comparison, analysis, interpretation, or evaluation. So the same line, repeating. The main features of new criticism are analyzing a work of literature based only the text. Remember, the main feature of new criticism are analyzing a work of literature based only the text, based on only the text that it provides, and ignoring any outside information, only based on the text providing, and that it provides and ignores, you may say, any outside information such as author, historical and cultural significance, and the reader's response. New critics draws all meaning from the work. Then that is or, or
Text providing and ignoring.
text providing text providing that's I forgot what prior to that I was speaking. Text providing,
Ignoring outside
Ignoring,
information.
ignoring any
outside
outside
information,
information.
outside information such as author, historical and cultural significance, and the reader's response. New critics draws all meaning from the works. Okay, so now origin of new criticism. Origin of new criticism. New criticism developed or emerged as a reaction, or developed as a reaction to the older philosophical and literary history schools of the US North, United States of North. Again
Sir,
speaking,
please
new
repeat that
criticism.
line.
Repeating, because twice. New criticism developed as a reaction to the older philosophical and literary history schools of the US North, which focused, means United States of North, which focused on the history and meaning of individual words and their relation to foreign and ancient languages, comparative sources, and the biological circumstances of the authors taking this approach.
Sir, please repeat
Then,
that line. Actually, I didn't get it.
okay, sure. Which focused on the history and meaning of the individual words and their relation to foreign and ancient languages, comparative sources, and the biological circumstances of the authors taking this approach. Then, uh, what is irony in new criticism? What is irony in new criticism? Irony, as I told, the meaning of what irony typically for humorous or emphatic effect. Okay, irony. One result of a new criticism was an emphasis on irony, the expression of one's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite. Irony in literature means what I told you now. Irony, one result of new criticism was was an emphasis on irony. Irony is a figure of speech. As you know, irony is a figure of speech in which the meaning of a text. Irony is a figure of speech in which the meaning of a text is radically different from that the surface meaning of a text. Clear? Again repeating, for your crystal clear. Irony is a figure of speech in which the meaning of a text is radically different, completely different than the surface meaning of a text. Close readings, close readings, attached readings. Close readings lends itself to uncovering or to uncover ironic meanings. If you read it closely, being very intimate, just you have a parallels with your friends, then you can know everything. The odds and odds.
Right.
Well, so that is all about the books. Lends itself to uncovering ironic or to uncover ironic meanings. Close reading. Well, so this was all about the that discussions of some short points. Okay, because these are very are highly essential to all of you. What is criticism? Then what is the format of criticism? Then who is the father of new criticism? Then origin of a new criticism. Then what are the features? All these are very essential. That's I told to all of you in short. Then now, what is new criticism? Now, pass on this. These are the basic ideas.
Sir, excuse me. Sir, close
Okay.
reading means
Close reading means so you have to go through the entire text mindfully. You have to have a keen interest to understand everything, each and every line. That is called close reading.
okay, sir. Sir,
Okay. Don't
mindfully
skip. Don't
reading
means
means
you must not
close
skip
reading.
it. Huh. Hello.
Okay. Sir, mindfully reading means close reading.
Huh. Don't skip. Don't skip. So just get in touch with all everything. Okay. Unless until you can't understand.
Okay, sir.
Suppose
Thank
you are just trying to understand the story, unless until you go through all the pages, you can't. What happened after that, or what's going to happen, or how many characters are there, what did they do, what type of that accomplishments that did they accomplish or complete. Okay, everything. You must be in touch with all the pages, all the line. Well, so what is new criticism? What is new, our present discussion? What is new criticism? Just attention, please. Uh, in literature, in literature, in literature, there are many theories. In literature, there are many theories used to analyze an author's work. So, to analyze a author's work, there are many theories in literature. One of these theories is new criticism. Do you get me? So, in literature, there are many theories used to analyze uh, an author's work. Okay, one of these theories is new criticism. So, what is new criticism? The new criticism definition is a new way of teaching literature. Remember, it's important. The new, now, so to make it clear, that particular line is sufficient. The new criticism definition is a new way of teaching literature by, hello, sound is coming. Sound is coming. Mute. Okay. So, am I audible to all of you? Am I audible? Are you able to receive sound?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Active listener, because from the very beginning, from the very start of my session, I have been saying active. We should be active listener, not rather passive listeners. Passive means body present, mind absent. Active means both body and mind. Everything.
present.
Well, present. Well, so the new criticism definition is a new way of teaching literature by analyzing a work based only on that work's text. Works
Sir,
based
repeat,
on that.
please.
uh, the new criticism definition is a new way of teaching literature by analyzing a work based on that work's text. What is there inside the text? In other words, just listen, in other words, I'm repeating, the theory analyzes only what is present in a work of literature. Remember, the theory, in other words, or we can express the same expression in using other sentences. In other words, the theory analyzes, means new criticism, only what is important or what is present in a work of literature. doesn't take anything else into account, such as the author or historical and cultural significance. Do you get me? Only important, what is present in a work of literature doesn't take anything else into account, such as the author. Means, except this, only we have to concentrate on that, what is present in the work of literature. So we have to obliterate or that reject all these. That the authors, such as
Important
that's
question.
we should not take anything else into account, such as the author or historical and cultural significance. New criticism arose. New criticism arose in the beginning of the 20th century. Beginning of 20th century in America and Great Britain. That new criticism at first emerged or came out or came into being in the beginning of the 20th century in America and Great Britain.
Sir,
In
excuse me,
America,
sir. Sir,
in
new
America and
criticism.
Great Britain.
Sorry to disturb you,
Thus,
sir. Sir, I'm asking about one doubt that you told that in new criticism there is nothing else when taken account other than like the words or the meaning of the words. Yes. So can you give an example, one small example?
means what is present in the work of literature. What is present means, okay, the characters and other historical, sorry, and other presentations, that the story, the plot, everything. Only what is present in the work of literature.
You mean, sir, plot of the that particular poem or
Huh,
prose, anything that is
huh.
important, but not others like
Important.
author or
Huh.
history.
Not the author or the historical or cultural significance. So new criticism arose in the beginning of the 20th century in America and Great Britain. The theory utilizes taking a close reading of a text, as earlier I told. So close reading of a text is doubled up, okay, twice or thrice in this. So new criticism utilizes taking a close reading of a text, close reading, which is dismantling a text and looking at the elements within it, such as symbolism or metaphor, to find the meaning of it. Meaning of it. Not historical or biographical or cultural significance. Only what is present in the text or literature. New critics focused mainly on the devices. And just wait, take this water. Okay. So continue. So new critics focused solely or mainly on the devices present in the text in order to analyze it. Literary critics I. Richards, T.S. Eliot helped to refine the techniques into what is known as new criticism. Understand? Prior to that, it was present, but these two personalities, who I.A. Richards, a renowned persons, T.S. Eliot, both in joint venture, helped to refine, mean to bring some changes, the techniques into what is now known as new criticism. Richard published, that is I. Richards published Practical Criticism in 1929.
Sir, defines the technique what is now known as what?
Techniques, what is now known as new criticism. Means,
Okay.
new criticism means The so-called present authors meant for to you in this unit, new criticism. I. Richards and T.S. Eliot happen to be the most prime critics. Okay, so they gave a new shape. They gave a new shape or brought some new changes. Uh, what is now known as new criticism. ହେଲା? Richards published Practical Criticism in 1929. Richards published Practical, that's a book, writing. Practical Criticism in 1929, a book that analyzed how people responded to poems. Means in that Practical Criticism written by Richard, so what do we get in that book? A book that was a book that analyzed how people responded to poems in which Richard's practical criticism in 1929, how people responded to poems that they did not know the author of. This helped to form the basis of a new criticism and was expanded on by other authors. Many authors and critics, many authors and critics contributed to the ideas of new criticism. Not only I. Richard and that Pat Levis or T.S. Eliot or W.K. himself, but other, except them, also other authors were there. So many authors and critics contributed to the ideas of new criticism, helping it to become one of the most popular methods of analysis in the mid 20th century. Because it came into existence in 20th century in Great Britain and where? America.
America, sir. America.
In
Yes, sir.
America and Great
America.
Britain. So many
America and
other
Great Britain.
authors, yes, many other authors also tried the level best to bring some changes in it. So in the mid 20th century,
Sir,
new
new criticism helping it to make it famous or what in after that? Can you please tell that?
yes. That to become one of the most popular methods. New criticism helping it to become one of the most popular methods of analysis in the mid 20th century. So after that, so the authors, those who came after 20th century, so they got a lot of ideas and helps from that from the writings written by the critics belonging to at the very beginning of the 20th century. Well, so new criticism theory, new criticism theory involves. It's a bit difficult because all these chapters we have here in block 5 are very difficult. Still, we are taking and trying. Okay, going through the different materials. New criticism theory. New criticism theory involves New criticism theory involves analyzing a work of literature. New criticism theory involves analyzing a work of literature by only uh, using what is present in the text, by only what using what is present in the text. Just wait. Okay. So now come on. So new criticism theory involves analyzing a work of literature by only using what is present in the text without looking at the author, the historical and cultural background, or even the reader of the work. So repeating the same because these are the most vital points to be discussed. Okay, because repetition, the same expressions are being repeated. So at the very beginning and middle and also here now at present. So using what is present in the text without looking at the author, the historical and cultural background, or even the reader of the text. New critics support the argument. New critics support the argument that the author and their background aren't needed to analyze the work. Again, repeating, new critics support the argument that the author and their background aren't needed to analyze the work. The same thing is being expressed using some other expressions. Okay,
Sir, please repeat at the end, please.
are not needed to analyze the work. New criticism is the theory of it is the theory of literature further supported by affective fallacy. We'll discuss what is affective fallacy later. Okay. Let's stress on these two fallacy, intentional fallacy and affective fallacy. Discuss it later, not now. It's not that at present to be discussed after some time. Okay. In today's discussion, unit block 4, it is to be discussed. Sure, new criticism will discuss what is affective fallacy, what is intentional fallacy. They are short questions. New criticism is the theory of literature further supported by affective fallacy, which argues that a reader's response, you have to know what is affective fallacy, later we just know, which argues that a reader's response means one who is reading, a reader's response to literature should have no bearing on it, on its meaning, on its meaning. Though a book or poem, though
Sir, please repeat that. A reader's response towards.
a reader's response to literature that a reader's response to literature should have no bearing on its meaning. What they speak. You may just argue here that if you can't understand the meaning, so how can you understand the text? Okay, what they speak. So, though a book or poem might spark a certain feeling, though a book or poem might spark a certain feeling in the reader, it should not influence how they analyze the work. Though these new critics support the argument, though these new critics support the argument
Sir,
that
please repeat, sir. Influence on, sir.
influence how they analyze the work, though these new critics support the argument that the reader's response is not needed to analyze a work. Okay, new critics support the argument that a reader's response is not so enough, is not very enough, only what is present in the literature. So though these new critics support the argument that the reader's response is not needed to analyze a work, as it prevents an objective view of the text and its meaning. Sorry, not though, throw this. So mistaken. Okay, throw this, TSROUGH. Through this,
Sir,
the
Please
new
repeat
critics
again.
support, not
Sir,
though
sir,
this,
please repeat again.
through this. Okay, just misspelled. Okay, uh, through this, uh, new critics support the argument that reader's response is not needed to analyze your work as it prevents an objective view. That's the main point. As it prevents an objective view of the text and its meaning. Because suppose you went through a text, you gave your opinion, and another, the second man just went through and gave his or her opinion, and many read and many gave their own opinion. So it will hinder. Okay, so
Sir,
that's why it prevents an
sir, at the
objective.
end, excuse me, sir, at the end, the reader's response is not needed to analyze what?
Analyze a work as it prevents an objective view of the text and its meaning. Then I Richards. So now we are okay. All these you leave it. Now we knew some lines about the founding father of new criticism, or characteristics, or features, or format, and what is criticism in literature, and what is the origin of literature, and the meaning of new criticism, theory of new, everything in short, because that's very, very required. So now to know, I.A. Richards and T.S. Eliot are considered the father of new criticism. Remember, I.A. Richards and both I. Richards, and as I told I at the beginning, because I. Richards at first
Sir,
took
I.A.
preference
Richards
in
and
this,
sir whom?
and T.S. Eliot are considered the father of new criticism, are considered the father of new criticism. But at the very beginning, I told I. Richards has been considered the father of new criticism because he was one of the first to study literary interpretation. Okay, as earlier I told, he was one of the first of the two. He was the first. Well, but the two. So I. Richards and T.S. Eliot are considered the fathers of new criticism. In his book, The New Criticism, because they have written a book called The New Criticism. New Criticism is a book, is a treatise. In his book, uh, The New Criticism, uh, 1941, John Crow Ransom, another critic. John Crow Ransom, another critic. Also here it has been mentioned to start, because we cannot just start the
Sir, please
activities.
repeat, sir. Only what is the new criticism?
A new critic in this book, The New Criticism, 1941, John Crow Ransom. Sheer CROW. That's a critic, Crorians, because here we have five important critics. I. Richards, T.S. Eliot, F.R. Leavis, John Crow Ransom, W.K. Humsat. Because within this short span, we can't touch all these. So some important, I. Richards, T.S. Eliot, F.R. Leavis, and that's W.K. Humsat, who is the founding father of affective fallacy and intentional fallacy. Later we will discuss. So, John Krauser Ransom begins his chapter on Richards by saying, okay, another critic, John Crow Ransom, just gave his opinion going through uh, the writing of the new criticism, that discussion of the new criticism must start with Mr. I. Richards. That the third critic, who John Crow Ransom, just gives his opinion. The discussion of a new criticism must start with Mr. I. Richards. The new criticism very neatly began with him. Who? I. Richards happens to be the first and foremost important one in giving a new shape to new criticism. Okay, but both I. Richards and T.S. Eliot. So discussions of the new criticism must start with Mr. I. Richards. The new criticism very neatly began with him. in terms of the influence, in terms of the influence, he that's he wielded means that's wielded wielded means its meaning is listen, hold and use a weapon or tool or have and be able to use power or influence. Wield means exercise, to exercise one's power. Okay, exercise one's power. Referential, containing of the nature of, okay, many meanings are there. So influence, he uh, wielded I. Richards is generally considered uh, the most important theoretician in the first half of the 20th century. Richard believes, I. Richards believes that the arts provide, Richard believes that the arts provide the only way of doing so. In the
Sir, repeat that
arts,
line, please.
art, arts provide the only way of doing so. Uh, in the arts, we find the record in the only form. In the arts, we find the record in is the only form in which is the only
Sir,
form
please.
in which.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Excuse me, sir. Yes, sir. Please repeat, sir, from art, sir. I was not able to write.
uh, in the arts we find the record is the only form in which these things can be recorded of the experiences which have seemed worth having to the most sensitive and discriminating persons. He believes that the arts are our storehouse of recorded values. Who? I. Richards believes that this is just listen this sentence. That's quite complicating. The arts are our storehouse of recorded values. He gives a very high place to the artist. Who? I. Richards. I.A. Richards gives a high place to the artist because he believes that the arts are our storehouse of recorded values. So he,
Excuse me, sir.
hello,
Sir,
hello.
sir, who first coined the new criticism word?
I. Richard, as earlier I told, I. Richard,
I,
because he's
Richard.
the first
Thank
one.
you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, he's the first one to study literary interpretations as a kind of science. Sure, he believes that the arts are our storehouse of recorded values. He gives a very high place to the artist. He is the point at which the growth of the mind shows itself. So now practical criticism. Richard. It is written by Richard in practical criticism. Richard asked a sample audience. Richard asked a sample audience in Cambridge to describe their responses to a set of 13 poems supplied without titles or the author's names. The students were not given only clue to the period in which, what you see, Richard asked some students uh, in Cambridge to describe their responses to a set of 13 poems supplied without title or the author's names. The students were not given any clue to the periods in which the poems were written because no names were there, no names of the readers or for that titles. Suppose you have a poem called Daffodils. Daffodil is the title. You have a poem called that Ballad of the Father Gilligan. That the title. So when Richard asked, so the students were not given any clue to the period in which any clue means any proof to the period in which the poems were written. The students were encouraged to read the poems more than once and given once week's time, given 1 week's time to write down their comments. A selection of these comments, which he calls protocol, forms the substance of the uh, board, followed by analysis of characteristics, errors, and suggestions for educational reforms. Richard says in his introduction
Sir,
that
please
he
repeat
had
that
three
line,
objects.
last line.
That is followed by analysis of characteristics, errors, and suggestions for educational reforms. Richard says in his introduction that he had three objectives. While writing practical criticism, Richard had three objectives. What are the three objectives? That one, to document the contemporary state of culture. First one is the document, that is the contemporary state of culture. Then two, to provide a new technique for responding to poetry. To provide a new technique, that is two, second objective, because he gave three objectives. Second, to provide a new technique for responding to poetry and to reform the teaching of literature. The book Practical Criticism analyzes the different mistakes of interpretation and evaluation that Richards saw in these responses and seeks to identify their causes.
Sir, please repeat that three
Okay,
objectives.
the three objects. First is to document, means the contemporary state of culture. To document means the contemporary state of culture at first. Then two, to provide a new technique for responding to poetry. For responding to poetry, to provide a new technique for responding to poetry and to reform the teaching of literature. The book Practical Criticism analyzes the different mistakes of interpretation and evaluation that Richard saw in these responses and seeks to identify their causes. Just wait 2 to 3 minutes. Just wait.
After completing the class, please, brothers and sisters, you have joined also the class because I have some doubts, so I clear the doubt.
Pratfulla Kumar, can you just put your mic on mute? If there is no doubts, please put your mics on mute, please. I don't see any necessary for you to put your mic unmute. I don't see any necessity here. If you have any doubts, then unmute and ask question. Unnecessarily don't, please, we don't want to hear any of your background noises.
Listen, ma'am. After the class, I have some doubt, so I clear the doubt. Please, after the class, the you
Yeah,
have
you
joined
can clear
also.
after class. You can clear, sir. Sir, after class, you can clear whatever doubts you have in whichever language you have. Nobody is stopping you. While going class going on, please don't unmute yourself because sir is taking class, people are taking notes, and somebody is putting their mics on unmute, and it is like very disturbing. They may not hear their own noises, but we are hearing, na? That is why I keep warning you, reminding people. Otherwise, it is nothing personal, guys.
No, no, I don't unmute my class. I always mute in class.
There is this one person, Pratfulla Kumar. I don't know what is his problem. While class is going on, he always keeping his mic unmute. After class, when sir leaves, there will be some time left for you to leave. So you can stay and discuss all those doubts with the students. Whoever wants to discuss with the students, you can discuss when sir after sir leaves. So that is why we are saying don't immediately leave this session when sir leaves. If you have any doubts, you just wait and ask your friends, fellow students, and then you can leave. Nobody is stopping you in that.
I need a clear cut answer, ma'am. So I will also join in the class after sir. After sir go to the class, so I need some doubts. So
Okay, so start now. Start now. Uh, so more lines about I recharge. Then have to switch over to. Then after we have to switch over to T.S. Eliot or F.R. Lewis. Uh, you see, I Richards is considered as one of the founders of modern literary criticism, better known as new criticism. Okay, because it's 20th century means modern literature. So I. Richards is considered as one of the founders of modern literary criticism, that is better known as new criticism. He thought criticism should emulate, he thought, who? I. Richards thought criticism should emulate the precision of the exact sciences. Precise, that is precision of the exact sciences. Aesthetic, psychology, and semantics pertaining to sound and semantics were brought together in this new approach to criticism. Thus, new criticism has been developed. Richard
Excuse me,
turns.
sir.
Hello.
Sir, at
Repeat.
the end, you said that exact science, aesthetics, semantics, etc., are
Aesthetic,
brought
psychology,
together.
and semantics were brought together in this new approach to criticism. Both. Thus, new criticism has been developed. Richard turns criticism into a science. As earlier I told, as at the very beginning I told that Richard was one of the first to study literary interpretations as a kind of science. So the same thing also is being repeated. Richard turns criticism into a science. He believes that making of literature is a scientifically analyzable activity. Who? Richard third thinks. He believes that the making of literature, the making of literature is a scientifically analyzable activity. According to Richard, the human mind is a system of impulses. As per Richard, the human mind is a system of impulses, and poetry is the record of the happy play of impulses. Poetry is the record of the happy play of impulses. Richard examines what kind of language poetry uses. Richard examines what kind of language poetry uses. There are two uses of language. There are two uses of language. One, they are the scientific use and the emotive use. In the emotive use, you know the scientific use, in the emotive use, the word
Sir,
evokes emotion. In the emotive use, the word evokes emotion. The emotive use of language is used in poetry and other literary works. In the scientific use of language, in the scientific use of language, the references should be correct and the relation of references should be logical. Do you get me?
Sir,
In
I didn't get
emotive,
your point, sir.
you see, there are two uses of language. According to I. Richards, there are two. Richard examines what kind of languages poetry uses. Okay. One, first, there are two uses of language. One, there's the scientific use and the emotive use. In the emotive use, the word evokes emotion. Because unless until one becomes emotional, one can be a poet. You have to sit at a lonely place. Okay, as you know, we had a poem called Poetry Lover and Bird Watcher. So, in order to be a good poet, you have to have patience and confidence. Remember, in order to also be a bird watcher, you have to have patience and confidence. Otherwise, you can't shot the bird or kill the bird. And also, in order to be a lover, you have to have patience and confidence. Unless you can't win the heart of a lady. Well, so the emotive use of language, the emotive use of language is based in poetry and other literary works. In the scientific use of language, the references should be correct. This is the difference. The references should be correct, and the relation of references should be logical. This is the difference. Okay. So now, with this, we conclude that what I. Richard told and described. So rather to pass on to or switch over to the next. That is, uh, mm,
Sir, excuse me, sir.
hello.
Sir, according to Richard, that you mean to say that scientific, he's saying that he was saying that it refers to matlab, that means that scientific through scientific it referred by somebody else with proof, and
Proof,
in
proof.
emotive it is only based on emotion, right?
Emotion. Yes, yes, right, right. So now, um, F.R. Lewis as a literary critic. Also, we are coming across or getting the name of that critic in the present discussion. Uh, I. Richard, T.S. Eliot, F.R. Leavis, W.K. Humsat. So F.R. Leavis also happens to be the most important critic of our present
Sir,
discussion.
we will,
F.R. Leavis means
sir, after
Frank
that,
Raymond Leavis.
excuse me, sir.
Frank,
Actually, sir, we will not cover
F.
sir, we will not cover the part of T.S. Eliot.
Yes, yes, yes. T.S. Eliot also.
After,
Or you want to know now some
after
lines
this,
about T.S. Eliot?
no, sir, I was
No, no.
asking,
Now
we
just
will cover the, after F.R. Leavius, we will cover T.S. Eliot.
what's the first? T.S. Eliot or F.R. Leavis? What you want
No,
to know?
Unit 2 is T.S. Eliot. That's why I'm asking. Like,
Okay,
first
okay,
one
okay.
was,
T.S. Eliot. Okay, T.S. Eliot. Okay, okay. As you uh, desire and like. Okay.
thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Uh, T.S. Eliot. T.S. Eliot was a renowned Anglo-American essayist, publisher, playwright, poet, and a literary and social critic of the 20th century, both IA and TS. Okay, so T.S. Eliot was a renowned Anglo-American essayist, publisher, playwright, poet, and a literary and social critic of the 20th century. As we can say, Thomas Stearns Eliot, the full name of this abbreviation, Thomas Stearns Eliot, an American-born scholar, sophisticated, uh, sophisticated, and have got a poetic genius claimed by both the United States and England in the 20th century, touchstone author and critic. He is regarded as the touchstone author and critic. His monumental verse, that is written verse, written during a period of emotional turmoil and personal re-evaluation, gave voice to the post-World War. Okay, leave that. So now, it's of the lifespan and his activities. Eliot is that apart from his contribution, or aside from his contribution to modernist literature, because as earlier I told, I. Richards is considered as one of the founders of modern literary criticism, better known as new criticism. Okay, so aside from his contribution to modernist literature, he was also a significant writer of literary criticism. Eliot is considered by some to be one of the greatest literary critics of the 20th century. One of the greatest literary critic of the 20th century. In his critical essay, Tradition and Individual Talent, okay, that is his essay, Tradition and Individual Talent, Eliot argues that art must be understood not in isolation. You knew the version of art given by, propagated by I. Richards. Prior to that, just recently we are listening the opinion of art by I. Richards. So now listen what Eliot speaking. So in his critical essay, Tradition and Individual Talent, Eliot argues that art must be understood not in isolation, but in the light of previous works of art. Previous
Sorry, please repeat that again. Eliot argue must.
art must not be understood not in isolation, but in the light of previous works of art. Previous works of art. Eliot wrote
Sir, I didn't get that point.
previous works of art means suppose at the very start you are going or at the very outset if you are not in touch with some previous works of art you can't get it by heart the first that you are trying to know. If at the very outset you are going through a text, unless until you have a clear cut idea about the previous like that, so you can just have a
We can
full
create a
fledged idea.
new literary
Uh-huh.
mode.
You can't have a full-fledged idea about the present text that you are dealing with, or studying, or going through. So you must have a clear-cut previous idea before this first text. That is the one of the greatest. Sorry, uh, uh, Eliot. That's critical essay. Poet must just to it, argue that art must be understood not in isolation but in the light of previous works of art. Eliot wrote, in a peculiar sense, an artist or poet must inevitably be judged by the standards of the past. Do you get me?
Please repeat that point.
Huh. Eliot, Eliot wrote, in a peculiar sense, in an odd sense, strange sense, an artist or poet, an artist or poet must inhabit, in, inevitably be judged, must inevitably be judged by the standards of the past. Past means whether have you written any works of literature prior to that or not, or before that or not. Okay, that is must be standards judged by the standards of the past. This essay was an which essay that tradition and individual talent. This essay it is not syllabus. This essay because this essay was an
No, sir.
Sir,
Sir, please
excuse me,
repeat
sir.
from Eliot.
Uh,
Eliot wrote in a particular sense or an artist. After that, sir.
an artist or poet must inevitably be judged be judged by the standards of the past. This essay was an important which essay that tradition and individual talent, that essay written by Eliot. By I. A. Richards, that is practical criticism. I. A. Richards wrote the essay that is practical criticism. So Eliot wrote the essay that is what I told you now. That was an instance influence over the new criticism. Again repeating,
Sir,
must inevitably be judged by the standards of the past. This essay, this essay, that is tradition and individual talent, was an importance was an important influence over the new criticism by introducing the idea that because you said new criticism was written by both I. Richards and T.S. Eliot. New criticism, that essay is written by both I. Richards and T.S. Eliot. So, but T.S. Eliot just wrote another new essay that is called Tradition and Individual Talent. So, in Tradition and Individual Talent, what did he told? Just I told you now. So, new criticism by introducing the idea that the value of a work of art in traditional criticism, in tradition and individual talent, that the essay by Eliot, uh, it shows that the value of a work of art must be viewed in the context of the artist's previous works. Clear now? Clear now? Whether prior to that, before that, do you have any productions or not? Do you have any productions or ventures or not. Okay, sure.
Sir,
That is,
sir,
hello.
excuse
Uh,
me. Sir, I am saying whatever Eliot said is a contrary to whatever William Wordsworth have said. Like recent class Romanticism, we have read that in that lyrical ballads, poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. It
uh,
takes its origin from emotion recollected in tranquility. We have
yes,
learned
yes,
that. So it is just like the opposite of this.
yes, yes. Sure. Previous words that yes, uh, the idea that the true value of a work of art must be viewed in the context of the artist's previous works. A simultaneous order of works or production. Okay. Suppose now you are just trying to complete a novel written by a novelist. Be very clear. So you have to search for whether the same novelist has some other writings prior to that or not. So you have to go in, or you have to be in quest of getting all these the previous writings of the same author. Then only you will come to okay, this author has written a lot of writings. He has a lot of production, so he has produced a lot of that essays or novels or dramas, whatever it may be, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the same thing. So artist previous works, a simultaneous order of works or production. Eliot himself implemented this concept. Eliot himself implemented this concept on many of his works, especially in his famous long poem, The Wasteland. Wasteland, that's a very good poem. The new criticism was a formalist movement. The new criticism was a formalist movement in literary theory that dominated American literary criticism in the mid 20th century.
Sir, new criticism. After that, can you please repeat?
Was a formalist movement. Last class I told her the meaning of formalist movement. That is whenever I was dealing with who that is classical criticism for perhaps types of classical criticism. Okay, I've forgotten all this. Sure. The new criticism was a formalist movement in literary theory that dominated American literary criticism in the mid 20th century. It emphasized close reading. But new criticism emphasized close reading, particularly of poetry, to discover how a work of literature operated as a self-contained, as a self-contained.
Please, sir, say that again, last line.
Okay, telling. Sure, that is the new criticism was a formalist movement in literary theory that dominated American literary criticism in the mid 20th century. It emphasized close reading, particularly of poetry, to discover how a work of literature operated in a self-contained, self-referential aesthetic object. The works of English scholar I. Richards, especially his practical criticism, as earlier I told, the works of English scholar I. Richards, especially his practical criticism and the meaning of meaning,
Sir, after I reach.
which practical criticism and the meaning of a meaning, which offered what was claimed to be an empirical scientific approach, were important to the development of new critical methodology. New criticism in Eliot's tradition and the individual talent. Eliot, in his critical essay, that is tradition and the individual talent. Okay, in his critical essay, advocates some principles and techniques that must be followed while judging and making a new work of art. He highlights who Eliot highlights the importance of a tradition, its meaning and literary significance. Eliot concludes Eliot concludes poetry is not a turning loose of emotions. Poetry is not a turning loose of emotions, but an escape from emotions. It's not the expression of a personality, but an escape from a personality. Thus,
Sir, please repeat that
Eliot,
line.
it's not the expression of a personality, but an escape from personality. Thus, Eliot doesn't deny personality or emotion. It doesn't deny personality or defy personality or emotion to the poet. A poet must have to possess these two or these two qualities, that personality and emotion. Only he must depersonalize his emotions. There should be an there should not be
I
an
didn't get that point that Eliot's poetry, like in Eliot's point of view, poetry means what? Expression of a personality and
personality and
emotion.
emotion.
Okay.
Personality and emotion. Sorry. That I told doesn't deny personality or emotion to the poet. Okay, right. What you told is right. That is, thus Eliot, in the opinion of Eliot, personality and emotion possess the two prime qualities of a poet. Okay, that okay. Uh, this is what new critics want from literature. They want to appreciate good literature and do not want their opinion of the poet to cloud their judgment or to cloud their judgment. So Eliot's so Eliot had a poem also called The Wasteland. In now just new that's the Eliot's essay. So now let's start. Eliot's the poem Wasteland. Eliot's landmark modernist poem, The Wasteland, was published in 1922. 1922, divided into 5 sections. That's a very great poem, very long poem. Divided into uh, 5 sections. The poem explores life in London in the poem that Westland, Eliot's Westland uh, explores life in London in the aftermath of the First World War. Although its various landscapes include the desert and the ocean, as well as the bustling metropolis. It is difficult to tie one meaning to the wasteland. As you know, wasteland has two meanings. Wasteland means no production, and it has another. So that's two meanings. ultimately, the poem itself is about culture, the celebration of a culture, the death of culture, the misery of being learned in a world that has largely forgotten its roots. However, however, the Westland's merit stems from the fact that it embodies so much knowledge within the poem itself. It serves as a living testimony to the enmeshed pattern of human spirit and human culture. Eliot has used several devices in the Westland. Eliot has used
Sir,
several devices in the Westland to link the present with the past. He has
sir,
used various.
sir, I didn't get any of this. That what the poem is explaining. Can you please explain that it is explaining about the life in London at the World War time?
World War time, yes, right. How
And
many devastations
that is
occurred? How different types of devastations or catastrophes occur? People suffered a lot after that. Okay.
okay, sir.
Uh, huh. So Eliot has used several devices in the Westland to link the present and the past. He has used various myths and legends because it's time taking. If you just go on that discovering everything, because many things are to be left out. Still, this main chapter. Okay, still many main points are there because as earlier I told, intentional fallacy and affective fallacy also appear levies. Okay, if elaborately we discuss, so we are leaving many points. Well, uh, that he has used various myths and legends. Had it been offline, as you see, offline classes, we would have met each other, we would have just exchanged our views, sentiments, thoughts, everything. I would have provided you everything, and slowly and gradually, we would have taken, met, and completed. But online. So I have to just reach some important points to make you aware of all this, though not in detail, but in a nutshell. That's the point. Okay. If we just give stress on a particular point, so needless to cover up all this, all the main. Okay. So that he has used various myths and legends with the help of allusions, symbols, quotations, and phrases. So if you now just ask what type of allusions, symbols, quotations, and phrases, okay. So impossible. The poem is in fact a mixture of many styles like narrative, dramatic, lyric, and allusive. Eliot gives his impressions about the modern people through a protagonist of the poem named Tiresias. Okay, in that poem we have that character called Tiresias. He is a spectator of all the events. He is witnessing all the events occurring in the poem. Okay, so the Westland is a city inhabited by a civilization. The Westland is a city inhabited by a civilization suffering from spiritual decay and generation. Okay, some important lines about Westland in 4 to 5 sentences. The Westland is a city inhabited by a civilization suffering from spiritual decay and generation because it has many connotations. The poem opens with a picture depicting the frustration and failure of a modern society. That's this wasteland. That poem depicts the frustration. I mean the picture of frustration, picture depicting the frustration and failure of a modern society. That's all. So now to F.R. Lewis. Pass on to F.R. Lewis. Okay, in that's syllabus courses of study we are coming across these two Eliot's that the first essay and this poem Wasteland and I. Richards that is practical criticism. Okay. Whenever you are getting the book, so very thoroughly you can go through and get something as detail.
But in our book, no, about the wasteland, it is not there. Actually,
Ah,
that tradition and that is their tradition and the individual talent that is there in the book. But the
ah,
one you dictated, no, the wasteland, it is not there in the book.
it's a poem, very big poem. You may purchase it from that bookstalls, Westland, Eliot's Westland, meant for
Okay.
this block, that is block for new criticism, as mentioned. Okay, mean the his name is mentioned in this block, T.S. Eliot. Okay,
Okay.
so now see, and that is F.L. Lewis as a literary critic. F.L. Lewis as a literary critic, also an influential critic of our present discussion. That is Frank Raymond Lewis. Frank Raymond Lewis was an influential British literary critic of the 20th century English literature. So all belong to the 20th century English literature. He was influenced by T.S. Eliot, who Lewis. Lewis was influenced by T.S. Eliot to a great extent. He was influenced by T.S. Eliot to a great extent. Lewis possessed a very clear idea of literary criticism.
Sir,
Lewis
say it again. Levis causes.
possessed a very clear idea of literary criticism, and he was well known for his predecessors and his contemporaries. And he was well known, means famous for his predecessors and who that predecessor T.S. Eliot and I. Lewis contemporaries. He is still regarded as his who F.R. Lewis still regarded as a fascinated and undisputed leader of the critical world of England. Fascinated or charming? He is still regarded as a charming or fascinated and undisputed leader of the critical world of England. That critic, F.R. Lewis, shares some ideas. Yes. So now start. That's F.R. Lewis shares some ideas, theories, and practices with the new critics. He shares some ideas, theories, and practices with the new critics. Instead of concentrating instead of concentrating on literary history and biography, like the other new critics of the period, Lewis advocated close reading of the text itself. Close reading of the text, as earlier you knew. So, close
Sir,
reading of the
after
text is a must.
concentrating, sir, after concentrating,
Concentrating on literary history and biography, like the other new critics of the period, Lewis advocated Lewis advocated means recommended or supported. Advocated means recommended or supported close reading of the text itself. Close reading. Arguing that the critics should analyze the words of on the page. Who? Lewis told. Words on the page rather than work from extrinsic evidence. Extrinsic means that's coming or operating from outside. Extrinsic extrinsic means coming or operating from outside, not part of the essential nature of somebody or something, not part of the essential nature of something, that is coming or operating from outside. So that rather than work from extrinsic evidence. Criticism for Lewis, criticism for Lewis is means of objective analysis of literary works for the exploration of value judgment, inherent human nature, or an art of civilized living in literature.
Sir,
According
please
to
repeat some criticism for Lewis. It
uh,
means of
works for the exploration of value judgment, inherent human nature, or an art of a civilized living in literature. According to him, means criticism according to Lewis. Okay, means for Lewis is a means of objective analysis of literary works for the exploration of what I told you now. Levy's conception of criticism is very different from the contemporary understanding of the term. To Lewis, the purpose of evaluating literature, to Lewis, the purpose of evaluating literature is to keep alive the tradition of a human world, not by admiring its achievements, but by bringing its values, purpose, and significance to bear on the presents.
sir, please repeat that again, last line. The purpose evaluating literature is to keep alive the human nature.
Human world not by admiring its achievements, not by admiring its achievements, but by bringing its values. Value based, as earlier I told, explanation of the value judgment, value based, that's bringing its values, purpose, and the significance to bear on the presents. So it is the business of the critic. So it is the business of the critic to explore and rediscover the social culture and an art of living behind literature. But he didn't fully believe that criticism should focus on the text itself. As earlier you knew who I. Richard told that literary criticism should believe in the text itself, not the author's social background, historical or cultural. All this. So what here he didn't fully believe that criticism should focus only on text itself or the words on the page. As a new critic, he always looks for an way of analyzing the objective way of analyzing the text. The critical method of Lewis is similar to that of T.S. Eliot. The critical method of Lewis is similar to that of T.S. Eliot. Whose criticism? Lewis' criticism is concerned with the evaluation of a work of art. Is concerned with the evaluation of a work of art. Or literature. His criticism is often based on the response of his students. His criticism is often based on the response of his students in the classroom. Do you get me? Whose criticism, F.L.'s criticism, is based on the response of the student. But in the previous art research, we shouldn't request the response of the readers. We shouldn't accept the response, rather deny the response of the readers. But here he gives emphasis that the response of the students in the classroom is often based on the basis of his criticism lies in his interest in culture and the problem of maintaining the tradition. So one of his yearly books
This liaison.
lines in his interest in culture and the problem of maintaining a tradition. One of his early essays by Lewis, Mass Civilization and Minority Culture, written by Lewis, the essay, early books, Mass Civilization and Minority of a Culture. In that book, Lewis this, examines this problem of maintaining a right tradition of a moral and aesthetic taste. In his criticism of the authors, what he seeks is the quality of life presented. In his criticism of the authors, what he seeks, wants, is the quality of life presented. He is not interested in the form. Understand? According to Lewis, the quality of life is a must, but not the form of a work of literature apart from its contents. Or he is not interested in the form of a form, FORM. He is not interested in the form of a work of literature apart from its contents. Quality.
Sir,
There must
according
be
to Lewis, what he was more focusing on which point?
quality. Means a response must be there.
Okay,
Response.
so he must be focused on that student's response or audience response regarding his poem or poetry.
Yes.
Okay.
So Lewis was a controversial. That's why he is known as a controversial critic. Controversial, understand? He is known as a controversial critic. He was frequently impelled for what was in fact his greatest strength. His consistent refusal to define a clear theoretical basis for his work. As a literary critic, he felt little sympathy for the others. In fact, he didn't hold any of the critics who had preceded him in high esteem. Understand? Even the great classical critic Aristotle says Aristotle was not exempted from this unsympathetic attitude. His only concession was given to Matthew Arnold. To Levis, humanism mattered, and for him, literary criticism must be humanistic. According to
Sir,
according
sir,
to Levis,
sir, can you please tell that you said na the critical method of Lewis similar to which one, sir? Taylor or IS
T.S. Eliot.
T.S. Eliot. Okay.
Yes. So Levis, according to Levis, society consists of individuals and individuals live in society. According to Levis, society consists of individuals and individuals live in society. So society is more comprehensive than individuals. Yes or no? Society is more comprehensive than individuals. Means individuals live in society. As individuals live in society. Comprehensive than individuals. Again, a society may have two sides of its culture, popular and sophisticated. Literary creation is impossible without individual. Literary creation is impossible without individual creative gift. But the individuals live in a society, so he must contain some social elements. According to Levis also, good literature, good literature, according to Levis, good literature should be based on the entire social culture. That's why he's a contradictory critic. Levis was a contradictory critic. He's okay. He never follows the writings or
Sir, can you
footprints
please
of the,
repeat that line? Literary creation is without.
uh, telling. According to Levis, uh, good literature should be based on the entire social culture. According to Levis, good literature should be based on the entire social culture, its sophisticated culture, and its popular culture. Understand? A good literature. A relation with only one part of the culture, a relation with only one part of the culture will not make a literature full-blooded. It will not be permanent, and in course of time, it will lose its appeal. Understand?
Sir, please repeat that line. Relation with.
Telling this line is important. According to Levis, good literature should be based on the entire social culture. So, what are these entire social cultures? Now, social culture, it's sophisticated culture and it's popular culture. Okay, social culture, it's sophisticated culture and it's popular culture. Relation with only one of the culture means you if you leave the other two cultures, whether it may be sophisticated or popular and only gives stress on social, sure meaningless. So relation with only one part of the culture will not make a literature full-blooded. It will not be permanent. And in course of time, it will it will lose its appeal. The writer has cited examples from the different periods of literature. So in fine, we can say that we can say that uh, despite its shortcomings and limitations, means despite Levy's shortcomings and limitations. Lewis was a fascinating and undisputed leader of the new critical world of England. He hasn't advanced, he has not, or he hasn't advanced any general aesthetic or literary theory. He is even despised by many for his aggressive attitude. Who, Lewis?
Sir, he didn't advise on general.
No, no, no. He is even despised by many for his aggressive attitude. Aggressive.
Sir, that previous line before this point.
He has not advanced any general aesthetic or literary theory. He has not advanced any general aesthetic or literary. So that's all about F.L. Lewis. So now just to conclude that W.K. Humsat's affective fallacy and intentional fallacy. First short question. Listen. You may source it from the other books also, or reading materials. You see, William K. Humsat, that is written in this book. That is W.K. Humsat, means William K. Humsat, born 1907, died 1975, was an American literary theorist and professor. In this book, means he has written book. In this book, Humsat brought out of the idea of intentional fallacy and affective fallacy. Means that Humsat's the verbal icon. That's a book entitled Verbal Icon, came into limelight in 1954, was co-written by Beardsley. Okay. Okay, so the two authors started writing that book entitled as The Verbal Icon. Beardsley, okay, Beardsley. So in this book, Humsat brought out the idea of intentional fallacy. Both wrote this book, that is The Verbal Icon. Beardsley and W.K. Humsat. Okay. So it was co-written by, okay, both wrote. Intentional fallacy refers to the error of evaluating a work by the intention of an author.
Sir, please repeat that line.
Intentional fallacy. Fallacy, you understand? Fallacy means a mistaken belief. Fallacy means a mistaken belief, especially based on unsound arguments. Means misconception. Fallacy, it's another substitute, is misconception. Okay, synonym is misconception. So intentional fallacy refers to the error of evaluating a work by the intention of an author. It is based upon a rejection of the omniscient of an author. Omniscient of an author. Omniscient means that you know the state of knowing everything, as if a author knows everything. Okay, the state of knowing everything. Omniscience of an author. Omniscience of an author. It is based upon a rejection of the omniscience of an author over a text. It argues that an author's intention or design should not influence the reading of a text. It further argues that a work of art should not be evaluated through what the author had intended for the same. Okay, the implication is the evaluation of a text. Okay. So the writers have to give their own judgment. Okay, what the author told, what the author wrote, taking his own idea. Okay, should not be taken into consideration. Rather, it should be viewed from the, or it should be judged from the viewpoints of uh, writers, sorry, readers. What they suggest should be final. So that is the implication is the evaluation of a text. The implication is the evaluation of a text. So the act of reading becomes an aesthetic, self-serving function. Self-serving means having concern for one's own welfare. Having concern for one's
So
own
art of
welfare.
reading,
Huh? Hello?
sir. After art of reading,
Repeat the line.
Act of so the act of reading becomes an aesthetic. Okay, means that aesthetic, self-serving function. Self-serving means that is self-seeking, concerns for oneself before them. Self-serving means having concern for one's own welfare. That is self-serving function, which is not influenced by external factors such as the author's biography. Intentional fallacy. Intentional fallacy tells that the relationship between a text and its audience is independent of the author's presence. Understand?
Repeat
Intentional
the line again.
repeating. Intentional fallacy tells that the relationship between a text and its audience is independent of the author's presence. It liberates means set free, set someone free, or something, someone or something free. It liberates the act of leadership from the omniscience of the author. Okay, so this must not, it's time to leave now. Uh, so tomorrow, if time permits, you have to again just have a clear cut idea about that is affective fallacy, whether beginning or in the end. Okay, so that's within this two we are going to cover up today's discussion complete in short.
Sir, I have one question. Actually, I'm trying to ask you that what is the difference between like Richard and this author W.K. Wimsett? What is the
Okay,
major difference?
I'll do tomorrow. I will tell. Okay,
Okay, sir.
tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm a little bit fed up. Okay, because
No
of
issue, sir. So tomorrow, beginning
uh,
of the session, please explain it. Thank you,
okay.
sir.
Okay, what is the difference between what you told, Richard, and because you see, that's why like,
Hello, hello, hello.
कोई उड़िया में बात कर सकते हो?
Yeah, you can ask your
ସାର୍ ସେମିତି କହିଲେନି ସାର୍ ବାଜି
Tomorrow is no class. Who is telling this?
Saturday, Sunday, no
Please
class,
send.
G. Normally,
Please,
normally on the
please,
weekends there will be no class. Saturday, Sunday, no class normally. Next
please,
class will be on Monday.
ହଉଛି।
Okay.
Please send me MEG 1, 2, 3, 5 paper in the group.
Are you actually in which group are you there? MEG-5, are you there in
No,
MEG-5 Nursing sir
the
group?
group, the group that opened, the group that opened in इग्नो नेम का एक ग्रुप खुला है तो उसमें
There is this one group called MEG-5 Nursinga group, sir. You join that group. We have a drive link which has this recorded class for MEG 1, 2, 3, and 5.
where is the drive link? I could not find this.
It is there. Ma'am has
I will
sent.
send
I
the
also
drive
checked.
link in that group. Are you there in that group? MEG-5 Nursinga sir group.
MEG 5 Nursinga sir group.
Yes, ma'am. He has sent. I saw.
Yeah. Are you
Ji,
there in that group?
I already in this group.
Wait, I will send.
Where
You're already in that group now.
where
You
where
send
the
hi. You send hi there and check and I will send the drive link there. It's already shared in that drive.
okay
Drive link is already shared in that group.
okay
I will again share it.
I will send
You
hi
can check
now.
for MEG 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Yeah, you are there in this group. Wait, I'll send the drive link to you. I will send the drive link. Wait. What are your subjects?
MEG 1, 2, 3, 5.
Okay, then you have recordings for MEG 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay. So then there is on Sunday there is one class for MEG 3. If you have that subject, kindly attend that class. Okay. Same link.
Okay. I need MEG 1, 2, 3, 5 का note.
Notes, there is no notes, but we have the class recording class which the sir took. So we have that and some notes MEG 1 ma'am shared, that notes we have in that drive. You can check the drive for all the notes and novels.
Okay,
Novels are
okay,
there
okay.
and drama is there,
Okay,
recording is
share
there.
the
So
share the drive
yeah, I
link.
shared the link now. I've shared it. You check it one more
Okay.
time.
उत्तरा
Hello,
राजमणि
ma'am.
उस
I have
नंबर
a
का है।
doubt, please.
Yeah.
Hello, excuse me, Uttara ma'am. Hello.
Me.
Hello, Uttara ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, please add me in that group. I'm also not in that group. The group of what you are talking now.
What is your subjects?
My subject is also MEG 1, 2, 3, and 5.
Okay, then I will
Hello, ma'am.
send you one more link. You join that link also. Okay. If you have 1, 2, 3, and 5, I will send that link to you also. You click that link.
Hello, ma'am.
Usually we have
Ma'am.
a MEG and we have online student and we have MEG student who have MEG 1, 2, 3, and 5. We have separate group for that. Okay, we discuss or share materials there. Randomly
Oh,
we share. It's not like it's organized. but we kind of share information regarding
Okay.
assignments or anything, any queries. So I will send that group link now in the chat. You can give me
Wait,
request
wait.
and
I am
I'll
not
accept.
in.
Why we are not sharing that group? Why we are not sharing the group link is because here in this class we have some MEG students who are not having MEG 1 2 3. They are having only 5 10 11 7 like that. Okay, so that is why we are not sharing that WhatsApp group link here. Now I am sharing. You give request, I will accept.
Okay.
I have shared the WhatsApp group. If you have only 1 2 3 and
Hello,
5,
ma'am.
join this
Listen,
WhatsApp
ma'am.
group. Yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm
Hello,
joining.
ma'am. Listen. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, yes, tell me.
MEG 1 2 3 5 5 का जो भी नोट है उसका कोई आपने कोई नोट किया है तो ग्रुप में भेज सकते हो क्या ड्राइव में?
Notes problem ji, actually MEG one subject ma'am gave some notes, so we uploaded that notes in the drive. MEG 2 sir didn't give any notes. MEG 3 professor gave some, there he is planning to give notes later. We have asked for some notes, so he planned to give the notes later. So whenever we get notes we will upload there. You can check every
तो
now and then if you want.
कोई सार का नंबर है जो प्रीवियस का क्लास किए थे तो कोई सार का नंबर है नृसिंह सर को छोड़कर?
Yeah. I will also give the number of the professors who you want
Okay,
MEG
thank you,
one to
ma'am. Oh,
whoever took class
please,
for
ma'am,
us.
send the number.
Hello, Athra ma'am. Hello.
Okay, ma'am, please send the
Hello.
number.
Yeah. I think I've added you.
Wait.
You want the professor number to be sent here? I will send it in the group, not here.
Which group? Send the group in the professor number in the group.
Ha.
See. Hello. Please resend me the link.
If you're not there in the new singer group, are you
Madam,
there?
how can
Not in
you?
the new singer sir
Hello,
group, right? You're asking
hello,
for
ma'am.
Hello, Athra ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
which group exactly? Yeah, which
Hello,
group link
Please ma'am resend the link of the group.
are you asking?
hello, ma'am. How can you get
The
the
group that
recordings
what
of the
we have a WhatsApp group in that
lecture?
you are sharing the drives on.
Yeah.
Hello,
I said that is the link. Are you
hello,
there
ma'am.
in MEG5
Ma'am,
Nursinga group? Sir group?
again you send the link. So
Ma'am,
I was
sound
not
ଅଛି?
able to find the links where the sharing that is
Sound ଟା
failed.
ଅଛି ନା?
So please join.
ଏଇଟା କ'ଣ?
Please resend the link again, ma'am.
I'm asking you, are you there in MEG5 group? I will send the link directly to that group.
Yeah.
It will be difficult to join
Yeah. I am in that group.
from here. Are you there in MEG5 Nursinga sir group? Na? There.
I am there.
Excuse me, ma'am. Please
Hello.
send the professor number in
No.
this group,
In
please.
that group I am not
Yes.
there.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, hello, ma'am.
Okay, then wait, can you give me your number? I will directly send you the.
Yeah. Please write my number.
Okay, ma'am. लिखिए.
What is it?
Eight
Can you
three
give the
eight
phone number?
eight three.
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
Hello, I'm 83
Yeah.
40
40
616
616
ଏଇଟା ଇଏ ହେଇଛି ନା? କହିହେବ କି?
8340 616 224.
4 8340616
Double 24.
Okay.
Please, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Kindly note my number, ma'am.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
link send you.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. Excuse
Okay.
me, ma'am.
I'm seeing. Please.
Then in the group now I will get your number.
Okay, ma'am. Please, ma'am, join me that group.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
जी, please
Okay.
send the professor number.
Okay, thank you.
I
I will
will send the
share.
person number. Wait. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Hello. Hello. Hello, ma'am. Hello. Hello. Hello.
ମ୍ୟାମ୍ ପଳେଇଲେଣି ଆଉ ଅଛନ୍ତି.
ଶୁଣନ୍ତୁ ଭାଇ। ହ୍ୟାଲୋ। ଭାଇ
ହଁ
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
କୁହ ହଁ।
ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଇଏ ଗୁଡାକ ରେକର୍ଡିଂ
ହଁ
ଗୁଡାକ ଯୋଉ
ନମ୍ବର
ଲେକ୍ଚର
ସେଭ୍
ଗୁଡାକ
କରିଛି ପ୍ରଫୁଲ୍ଲ
ସେଗୁଡା
କୁମାର।
କେମିତି ମିଳିବ?
is 80.
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ଭାଇ ଭାଇ
ହଁ ଟିକେ ରୁହ ଟିକେ
Hello,
କଲ୍ ଆସିବି ଗୋଟେ କଲ୍।
are you there?
ହଁ କୁହନ୍ତୁ କୁହନ୍ତୁ।
ହଉ କଲ୍ ଆଟେଣ୍ଡ କରିସାରି ଫୋନ କରିବେ।
Hello, Atra ma'am. Hello, are you there?
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ।
Not there.
Hello, ma'am. You have left.
She has left already.
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
ହଁ ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ଭାଇ କୁହ।
ଶୁଣନ୍ତୁ ଭାଇ
ହଁ
ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ରେକର୍ଡିଂ ଗୁଡାକ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଲେକ୍ଚର୍ସ ଗୁଡାକ ହେଲା ନା ତାର ରେକର୍ଡିଂ ଗୁଡା କେମିତି ପାଇବା କଣ କହିଲେ ସେମାନେ?
ଏବେ କହିଲେ ଡ୍ରାଇଭର ଛାଡିଛନ୍ତି ଏଇ ଡ୍ରାଇଭର ଯୋଉ ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ଆପଣ ଅଛନ୍ତି?
ହଁ ହଁ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଗୋଟେ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଅଛି ତ ହଁ ସେଇ ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ଦେଖିଆ ଆପଣ ଦେଖିଆ ସେଇଟା ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ନା ମୁଁ ତ ସେଇ ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ଅଛି ବୋଧେ କାଲି କିଏ ଜଏନ୍ କରିଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ବୋଧେ ଆପଣ ବି ତ କାଲି ନଥିଲେ କାଲି ଜଏନ୍ କଲେ ପରା ଆପଣ ବି ସେଇ ଗ୍ରୁପ ନା
ହୁଁ
ନା ଆଉ କି ଗ୍ରୁପ?
ନା ଆଉ
MEG-5
ଫାଇଭ୍
ତ
ନୃସିଂ
ସେଇ
ସାର୍
ଗ୍ରୁପ ଟା ନା କଣ? ଆଁ
MEG-5 ନୃସିଂ ସାର୍ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଏଇଟା।
ସେଇ ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ଟିକେ ଜଏନ୍ କରିଦିଅ ନା ସେଠି କଣ ସେ ଲେକ୍ଚର ଆସୁଛୁ ବୋଲି କହୁଛନ୍ତି।
ରୁହ ଟିକେ ରହି ସାଙ୍ଗେ
ପାରିବ
ସାଙ୍ଗେ
ନା
ଜଏନ୍ କରିଦଉଛି
ପାରିବ ନା ଟିକେ ମତେ
ନାଁ ଟା କଣ?
କ୍ଷୀର 7381743702 କାଲି ପରା
ଟିକେ ରୁହ
କହିଥିଲି
ମୁଁ
ଆପଣ ମତେ କରିଦେଇଥିଲେ ଗୋଟେ ଗ୍ରୁପରେ।
ସେଟା ତ କରୁଥିଲେ ଆଉ
ହଉ
ଗୋଟେ
ହଉ
ନୂଆ
ଠିକ
ଗ୍ରୁପ
ଅଛି ଠିକ ଅଛି
ତାଙ୍କର
ମୁଁ ରହିଛି
ଖୋଲିଛନ୍ତି।
ରହିଛି। ଓହୋ ସେଇଠି ଡ୍ରାଇଭଟା ଟିକେ କରିଦଉନା ଭାଇ ପ୍ଲିଜ।
ନା ଭାଇ ଏଠି ଅପସନ ନାହିଁ।
ହଉ ତାହେଲେ ମୋ ନମ୍ବର ଟା ଦେଇ ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ପ୍ଲିଜ କାଇଣ୍ଡଲି ଆଡ ଏମିତି କରିକି ଲେଖି ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ନହେଲେ ମେସେଜ ଗୋଟେ ଦେଇ ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ସେଇ ଗ୍ରୁପରେ। ହବନି ନା
ଓକେ ଓକେ ଦେଖିବା
ନହେଲେ
କରୁଛି।
ସେଇ ଇଏଟାକୁ ନହେଲେ ସେଇ ଗ୍ରୁପରୁ ସେ ଲିଙ୍କ ଟାକୁ ଏଇଠିକି ପଠେଇ ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ଏଇଠିକି ସେୟାର କରିଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ଏଇ ଗ୍ରୁପ ଟାକୁ ଦେନ ଆମେ ପାଇଯିବା।
ହଁ ରୁହ ଠିକ
ସବୁ ଖାଇଦେ ଆଉ ରୁଟି ଖାଇବୁ ନା?
Hello, anyone can resend the link of the group in which Atra ma'am shares the drive and all.
और उड़िया आप हिंदी में बात कर सकते हो या उड़िया में?
नहीं नहीं, हिंदी में भी कर सकते हैं।
तो हिंदी में करो ना इंग्लिश में करते हो कुछ समझ में नहीं आता थोड़ा थोड़ा आपका।
अच्छा अच्छा, तो बोल रहे थे ना कि ये जो अभी आशा मैम जो बोली है कि वो लिंक एक शेयर करती है ड्राइव में, तो वो
आप
कौन सा
कहाँ से
ग्रुप
हो
है
भाई
वो?
साहब? ना ना क्या नाम है? अनमोल भाई साहब? नहीं
हाँ हाँ
अनमोल
जी
भाई
जी,
साहब आप कहाँ से हो? कौन सा स्टेट में? स्टेट कौन सा है आपका?
बिहार से। मेरा MEG-5 है 1235।
सुनो सुनो लिसन लिसन आप कौन सी स्टेट में है?
बिहार परा कहले से तुमको
बिहार बिहार।
अरे
बिहार
बिहार
ओ
बिहार
इसीलिए
परा
हो
कहले
ठीक ठीक है।
बिहार परा कहले से
किसी
ओके
ग्रुप का है
आई
क्या बस
आई आपका नाम दूं।
ଶୁଣନ୍ତୁ
क्या चीज?
ସଂଗ୍ରାମ ଭାଇ
प्लीज टेल योर फोन नंबर, प्लीज टेल योर फोन नंबर, आई विल जॉइन यू।
ମୋର 73
हाँ 8340
फिर से बोलिए।
8340
ହଁ
8340
616
616
224
डबल
224।
224। ठीक है अनमोल अनमोल बिहार। ओके
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
ठीक है। हाँ
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ଭାଇ
ଏଠି
ଏଇ
ସେୟାର
ଯୋଉ
ମାନେ
ସେଇ
ନାହିଁ
ଯୋଉ
କରିବା ପାଇଁ।
हाँ आप लिख
ହଉ ଠିକ ଅଛି
भेजेगा।
ସେଇ
हेलो,
ଗ୍ରୁପରେ ଗୋଟେ ମେସେଜ ଦେଇ ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ନହେଲେ ସେଇ ଯୋଉ ନହେଲେ ଯୋଉ ଲେକ୍ଚର୍ସ ଟା ସେଇଟା ଏଇ ଗ୍ରୁପକୁ ଫରୱାର୍ଡ କରିଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ନହେଲେ ହବ ନା ନା ପାରିବେନି? ସେଇ ଭଳି ହବ ନା
ହବ ହବ
ନହେଲେ ସେ ଲିଙ୍କ ଟା ନହେଲେ ଏଠିକି ପଠେଇ ଦଉନ୍ତୁ ନା କେମିତି କଣ କରିବେ ଗୋଟେ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ନହେଲେ ମୋର ଆମ ନମ୍ବର ଗୁଡା ଏଠି ଛାଡି ଦଉଛୁ। ଶୁଭିଲାନି ଶୁଭିଲାନି।
ପଠେଇ ଇଗ୍ନୋର ଏମିତି ଗ୍ରୁପ ରେ।
ହଉ ଠିକ ଅଛି ସେଟା ବି ଚଳିବ। ଦେଖି ସେ
ଓକେ
ଗ୍ରୁପରେ
ତାହେଲେ
ଗୋଟେ ନମ୍ବର ପ୍ଲିଜ ଆଡ ଦି ନମ୍ବର ଏରେ କରିକି ଦେଖିଦିଅନ୍ତୁ। ଆପଣ ତ ଆମ ମାଷ୍ଟର ଆଉ
ହଁ
ଆପଣ ଯାହା
ନମ୍ବର
କରିବେ
କଣ
ଆଉ
କ୍ଷୀର ଦବା ପାଇଁ
କ୍ଷୀର ଦେବ ବାସ୍ ଠିକ ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ
କ୍ଷୀର କି ମାଷ୍ଟର ଆଜ୍ଞା ଆପଣ ଚାକିରି
ୟୁ।
କଲେ ମୁଁ
ନା ନା
ମାଷ୍ଟର।
ଚାକିରି ହେଲେ ବି ସୁଧା ଆପଣ ଗୋଟେ ଆମକୁ ସାହାଯ୍ୟ କରୁଛନ୍ତି ମାନେ ଆମର ସେଇ ଦୃଷ୍ଟିରୁ ମାଷ୍ଟର। ଆପଣ ଓଡିଆ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ମୁଁ ବି ଓଡିଆ କହୁଛି ଆଉ
କ୍ଷୀର
ଇଂଲିଶ କହି ହଉନି ଭଲ ଆମେ ଇଂଲିଶ ଏତେ ଅଭ୍ୟାସ ନାହିଁ ନା।
ଏଠି ଇଂଲିଶ ଆମେ ଓଡିଆ ପିଲା ଓଡିଆ କହିବୁ ନା କ୍ଷୀର ଇଗ୍ନୋ ପିଲା ଲେଖିଦେଇଛି କ୍ଷୀର
ହଉ ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ
ପ୍ଲିଜ ଏଟ୍ ଦିସ୍ ନମ୍ବର।
ଠିକ ଅଛି ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ହଉ ତାହେଲେ ରଖୁଛି ରଖୁଛି।
ହଉ
ହଉ
ହଉ କେବେ ଭାଇ ରଖ ହଉ ହଉ ହଉ।
ସବୁ